Hey, what's happening, guys? Carter here. Well, first off, I got to apologize. This video, you're not going to actually see me doing the work on this knife. You're not going to see it taken apart. The reason for that is I just did it real quick. I had a wild hair up my you-know-what, and I tore this knife apart. I did the fix, slapped it back together, it worked, and of course regretted not getting it on video to show you guys. But I figured it was still worth talking about, so here's the video on how I adjusted the detent strength on my Boker Epicenter. Now, I love this knife. I played with it all night last night trying to get that detent under control. It wasn't happening. The detent was insane. This morning my thumb hurt so bad I could not force myself to open this knife. I mean, when it closed, it locked shut, and it was painful to try and open. And as you can see, after the fix I did, even with my even with my sore thumb, I can open it no problem. And the detent is still there, and it is still really strong, but just not ridiculously strong. I'm going to do two videos here. One, I'm going to talk about detents in general, but for the specifics of this, I'm just going to show you what I did to fix it. Now, word of caution, all this stuff voids your warranty. All this stuff can end in tragedy. You don't want to really be messing around with your knives this way unless you're willing to accept the fact that you may completely screw it up. So, that being said, what I did was took it apart, of course, and I cleaned it. There's nothing too crazy inside of here. Two thin bronze phosphorus washers, huge milled out pocket on this scale, nice and finished on the inside, a lot different than the Monero, but nothing too crazy on the inside of there. Took it apart, got to the detent hole on the blade, so right here is the detent hole, somewhere about right here, and I don't believe it went all the way through. Got the detent hole. You can see the track where the detent ball is traveling. So if it was up like here, you can actually see just the very corner of that detent hole. So right here is where it would look like. Here's the hole, and then you'd see the travel mark where it went. I took this carbide bit right here, the pointiest one I could find in my Dremel tool, and I basically of course it's a lot larger, but I just turned it on and drilled a little 45-degree angle channel, kind of like that, to give that detent ball something. So if you're looking at it this way, let's say this is the hole, I basically, you know, drilled out a little section this way, if we're going cross section. So that way when the hole's in here, it's not trying to go straight up this lip right here. It has a little bit of a ramp to ease its ability to move on. Now there's two reasons why this detent was so strong, and I'll go into more detail in the next video. But one was the size, the diameter of the hole used, and also the placement. And the other is that it has quite a bit of lock bar strength on this knife. So those two factors together gave this thing an insanely wicked detent. Now, the problem with doing something like this is if you do it too much, you're going to completely obliterate your detent. So you definitely want to do it slow and steady. You know, take a look at the size of the hole, look at the size of your detent, make sure this is the right approach, because depending on what's causing the detent issue, this may or may not help, it may ruin it, so on and so forth. But that's what I did to fix this detent. I mean, I could barely even open it with my other hand. It was crazy. I don't know if they're all like this, but the detent on this was bonkers. And then, you know, I started to think that if I ever have to adjust this tension more, put a little more tension on it for lockup reasons, it's going to make it even worse. So I went ahead and did it. I wish I would have got it on film. There's not too much to see though. It literally took 2 seconds. You just take this bit and kind of round off right where that ball goes in to give it a little ramp, and you do it just a little bit, put it back together, see how it is. If you need to take it apart and do it again or a little bit more, go ahead and do that. In my case, I got it right the very first time. It's perfect. You can see how easy it is to open now. Alright guys, so that's it. Just a quick detent ball fix for this particular knife, and really for any knife as long as it fits into the same category as to what the problem is. I'll be doing a follow-up video talking about detent balls kind of in general, how they work, and what makes them strong or weak and things like that. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Sorry I didn't get footage of it, but you know, what can I do? Alright, later.